Welcome to Backyards and Bevvies. Grab your favorite bevy, pull up a chair, and enjoy the ride. Hey, B&B fam. This podcast is sponsored to you by BetterHelp, H-E-L-P. Is there something getting in the way of your happiness? I know when I traveled the world, I had many days where BetterHelp's worldwide service of licensed professional therapists could have helped me speak to someone no matter where I was in the world about whatever was happening with my life, and with zero judgment. With their ability to match me with a therapist that best fits me, I know my mental health would have been way better back then. Believe me, I needed it. But I'm here to share a way for you to take back control of your mental health by telling you about BetterHelp's awesome services they have for you to talk with a pro about your life through their app or just online. Whether it is a video session or some simple messaging, their team is here to help. I went to check out the app for myself just to see how easy it was to use, and after a series of questions, I was told I would be able to start matching with a therapist in under 48 hours. And what is super rad is that it's affordable and they even offer financial aid too. So come join the 2 million users that have already been helped and gain back control of your mental health by visiting betterhelp.com/backyards for 10% off your first month. Remember, BetterHelp is therapy done securely online. Don't forget to use the special code BACKYARDS and let BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, help you to start living a happier life today.
3 claps this time.
3 claps and a woo!
Woo!
Number 52.
We did it.
Oh my gosh. We set out to do it. We said we were going to do a show every day for a whole year.
Every week. Every day.
Gosh,
I would die.
Yeah, that'd be right.
There's no way.
It takes a lot, though.
Every week is already, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. You know, the one thing that, this show is definitely going to be about something, not just anything random, but it's...
This show's going to be about something.
Welcome to Backyards and Bevvies.
Where we talk about something.
Something. There's something out there that we're going to talk about.
TBD something.
Time management and change.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we've experienced over the last 2 years, almost 3 years now, in multiple different ways. But when we started this show, I think it was the first inception of starting really over.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd quit my longtime career, then I'd quit that little job that I took, and it was the first time in my life that it was all on us.
Yep.
Everything that we were going to do, everything that we'd set out to do in April of 2020, we started a goal there. We started one project, and I said, this is something that I've always wanted to do. I've always had the dream since high school, and it was something very... really, really daunting and hard and a thing that I never thought that I could ever accomplish. I had taken stabs at it before. I shouldn't even say really tried. I put forth minimal effort into it because I like the idea of the successful part of it, but I didn't like the idea of the work part of it.
Sounds pretty normal.
Well,
I feel like that's kind of how most people feel about things.
Well, it's really easy to look at anyone in any kind of success, power, anywhere that you are not, that you want to be. It's easy to look at them and say, gosh, I want to be there. And they have it so easy and so lucky, and they get to fly on planes, or they get to travel, and they get to do this, and they get to do all the things that you want. But then all of a sudden you're like, well, shit, I got to do it. And that's the hard part. That it's the sleepless nights, it's the up early, it's the how do you manage your time? And so 52 shows, we had started the project 2020, right? Then we went a whole year and we got pregnant. Well, you got pregnant.
That's fine.
We
got
whatever.
pregnant.
And in that time frame, we decided that the best thing for us to do was for me to be a stay-at-home dad, and one of those things was to give up my careers. Well, give them all up.
Right.
Start fresh. Start something that I could do here with the kids, or well, at that point, the kid.
Right.
And make sure that we had sufficient... Sorry, I'm looking at some levels here. Everything looks good. Okay, my bad. But yeah, we were looking at all of our options, and we waited and we said, okay, well, if you're going to do this, you have to go full in.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And you had a meeting with someone who is actually in that field and is doing it. And they were like, well, one thing you can do to help your project out is start a podcast.
Right.
Start talking. Start sharing your story with people so that people get interested in you. You know, and I don't think people have ever been interested in me.
I don't think that's true.
I think I was more conceited to think that everyone was interested in me.
That might be true.
That might be more how my brain worked for
I think
a
it's
very
a
long
mixture
time.
of both.
It is. But we took on something really difficult, and in that process, we've adapted. You know, like we've had some success with certain things and some big failures with other things.
Yeah.
You know, and part of, I think, the whole social media podcast doing this is it is very obvious when you fail.
Yes.
It is a no joke. 2 people watched your video. Do it again.
Right.
Try again. But in that, I've had to learn how to manage my time via, you know, running or being helpful around the house, not running the whole household.
You run most of it.
But you've gone back to work. So that leaves me home with the little dude.
Right.
Right. And one thing that was made very clear when we first brought him home was that if you don't have a schedule for a kid, you really
gonna have a real tough time.
A really big hole for yourself. And so we took some advice from an awesome book called Moms on Call.
Love that book.
It is not your it's not your mother's book that told you about anything else other than, you know, like what was that one book that everybody reads?
What to expect when you're expecting?
Definitely not that.
No. Well, the great thing about the Moms on Call books is that they're written by 2 pediatric nurses who have like decades of experience with babies. And they also, like, between the 2 of them, have 8 kids.
Yeah.
So they've gone through it themselves. And I mean, we haven't even read the books cover to cover, but you don't have to. They give you basically like the nitty gritty of what you actually need to know. Like, you should have these medicines, and this is what you should pack in your hospital bag. And here are sample schedules based on how old your baby is.
Yeah.
So that they start to get into the right, like, sleep rhythms and eating habits and all this stuff. And it actually allows the parents to get some rest and to have a little bit of a life. And it keeps the little ones healthy and growing. And it's been awesome.
Yeah. No, it really has. And that I think it was so helpful that it gave us a dedicated schedule every day.
Yes.
Every single day we knew exactly where we had to be, at what time, and with how much time we had to either waste and or be productive. And I'm going to go on a limb and say 90% of that time we were productive.
Right.
We really did take that year. Let's just talk about it in a year. So 52 shows ago, we signed up for this deal, and we said, well, if we're going to do it, we got to give our audience something consistently.
Right.
And we talked about it a few times, like every 3 weeks, every week, 2 weeks. You know, we went back and forth, and we finally decided, well, let's just shoot for every week right now. Because that gives everyone a chance to really get to know us and all this stuff, right?
Right.
And now that we're coming up on the year, we're about ready to have
baby number 2 soon.
Yeah. So we made I should say I brought you an idea yesterday, or a few days ago, I should say, and we made the executive decision that to continually give our audience something worthwhile, we are going to take this to a bi-weekly, or every 2 weeks, show.
Yes.
And it's not because we don't like doing it.
But we want to give our audience quality content versus us being, especially when this new baby comes, for the first couple months, we are going to be zombie exhausted, running around with a toddler in between taking care of a newborn. And there's no point in recording an episode for the sake of recording an episode if we're just like sitting there staring at each other like, so
But we want to give people...
What do we want to talk about?
But that's the whole thing, is we want to give people something that they truly enjoy going to.
Exactly.
So if we're just, pumping out a quick episode just because we're on that weekly schedule, that's not fair,
Right.
So in business, I think, or in any kind of thing that you're doing, to be successful, change is part of that.
Sure.
You have to shift when the tide moves a little.
Mm-hmm.
Or you'll just get swept out into the big abyss and see you later.
Right.
And that's not what we want. We wanted to really capitalize on the idea of growth.
Right. Well, and we really value our listeners' time. We don't want to waste anybody's time with crappy episodes.
100%. And and that's the whole reason why I thought that this would be a great time to talk about change and time management.
Mm-hmm.
Because valuing your time, I think, is something that a lot of people don't recognize.
Mm-hmm.
I've been asked about going back on the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've thrown out numbers that were so astronomically big that people are like, okay, well, yeah, but you're not worth that. I'm like, well, no, to you, I'm not worth that in the idea.
But to me, my time is worth that.
Well, like doing that job, because what they do is they don't, like a lot of times they don't look at it as like, oh, you're gone for 7 days, 24 hours a day,
mm-hmm.
For 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a lot.
That would be the shortest tour you'd ever done.
Well, one of them.
Because it would be more like, so you're going to be gone almost the whole year.
Yeah, but I had to really weigh what my time was worth in 1 week.
Right.
And I really had to then sit down and say, okay, well, if I leave my house and I go and do something, it's not that I'm the best audio engineer. It's the fact that this is what my time is worth to me at this house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing, is my time is worth something. So when I look at the audience and I look at what we're giving, every day I wake up and I work out at 4:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And over the last, let's just say year, 6 months of that year, I've lost 20 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried new eating habits. Because I do like to eat, so I don't want to give up my pizza and my cheeseburgers. So there's all these things that I've done to learn where I need to sit, and I finally learned it. And it's like, okay, I do have to wake up early. I do have to work out. I do have to watch what I eat from this time to this time.
Right.
And it's all time management. And then it's like, okay, well, and then here's my window to eat. So I don't need to go and cook me a 5-course, 7-course dinner. No, I need to cook a couple things here. This is what I like to eat. I could eat this every day. Bam.
Mm-hmm.
There's time management again. And it just plays into this whole thing. So then when we look at our audience, it's like, well, all right, we're about to add a mouth to this household.
Yes.
that can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Literally can't do anything for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, there's some time gone.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. Doesn't matter. There's time. We haven't figured it out yet, but we will. But the one thing that we can do right away is give our audience the experience of saying, well, look here. We want to continue to value your time the way that we value our time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to take the show back a little.
Yes.
Because adding doesn't necessarily always mean a good thing.
Right.
Subtracting stuff from your life is okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where I think
it's
we are right now.
I believe it was Coco Chanel who said that about fashion.
Uh-huh.
After you've gotten all ready and you have all your jewelry and accessories and everything and you're about ready to walk out the door, look in the mirror, take one thing away.
Yeah. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could think back to being an audio engineer and telling people well, you can add that in, but what could you get rid of to clean up your mix?
Yeah, 100%. Streamline.
Do you really need all those guitars sitting in the one same spot? No.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it really is something that is across the board life. It's not one specific job. It's not one specific age group or race or wealth or poor or whatever. It is, if you don't manage your time, you will just drown.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a lot on your plate.
Yeah, especially.
Because you could just be a Cheeto eating, whatever.
Yeah, I eat Cheetos. I love them.
Well, okay, but if you
Careful there.
But if you ate Cheetos all day long and sat in a basement and didn't do anything,
well
then you could do whatever you wanted with your time.
True.
Because there's nothing for you to do other than waste your time.
True.
But if then you start adding things into your life, like, well, if you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or you're married, well, there's one person in your life now that you have to split your time with.
Yeah.
It might not have to be equal every day, but you better figure out how to split it across an extended amount of time, because if not, then you're slowly going to find yourself single again.
Yeah.
And then you can do whatever the hell you want.
Right. For a little while.
But you see how that cycle goes, though. And so, well, here we go with the show. It's like we love our audience. We love what they've helped us accomplish. And we love the interaction with them. Okay, well, by adding the little baby, we're suddenly not able to give our audience the exact amount of attention and time.
Right.
So now we have to like divvy it up one more half and be like, okay, well, now we're quarters.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's quality over quantity.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, and I would much rather a few people be like, yeah, but I love listening to you every week. And me just having to explain, be like, yeah, but you have to understand, though, like, I want to give you good stuff. So if you want me every week, unfortunately, it would just turn into dirt.
Yeah. Hey, hi.
Hey, hi. We've had a great day. Look at the weather. Bye.
See you later.
Because there's only 4 arms, or we have 4 arms, and they have 4 arms, and we're going to need to, share all that.
We'll have to
share all these
figure it
arms
out.
together. I can only fit 2 babies. And then, so it's better for us this way. And then the project that we've been working on, which is the main goal, like we love this podcast. And once this project comes out, the only thing that is going to happen is the podcast is going to get probably cooler.
Right. We'll have even more to talk about.
Well, yeah, because it's all about going down these roads of life that take us to different places, and right now we're at a stop sign where we're like going, okay, well, we need to adjust. We need to look at what we have in front of us before we go further. We made it to a year. We did it. We did our goal. We set out to do 52 shows, and we did.
I mean, it's pretty mind-blowing that we've already gone through 52 straight weeks of episodes, because also when we started this podcast, I wasn't going to be a part of it at all.
You weren't, no.
I was like behind the scenes, not going to be involved whatsoever, and then you asked me to be your co-host, but then I was only going to be like 1 episode a month or something like that, because we're going to have all these guests.
Yeah.
And over time, it just kind of seemed like, okay, well, maybe the 2 of us talking and a guest every once in a while is the way that we're going to go about doing it. So it definitely added a lot to both of our plates that we weren't expecting. Yeah. But we've learned so much.
And I think that was the coolest part, is at first I was like just going to go, and because the first inception, what the person told when you had that meeting, they're like, just have your husband
tell stories
about his life.
Stories.
And it was like, and I was so turned off on that idea. I was like, oh gosh, people would hate that. There's only so many times I can talk about myself, and I do like talking about myself. But there's only so many times I could tell the same drunk story. Oh, there I was in Dublin, drunk.
Right.
Flooded a room. Oh, there I was in Spain, drunk. Flooded a room.
Did you really in both of those places?
In one of them I did.
Oh my goodness gracious.
But that's the point, though, is that there's only so many variances to you going out in a different city drunk. I mean, I've danced with the locals in Italy, and I've danced with the locals in Russia, obviously, So it's like the only difference now that we're talking about is one was giving me pizza late night drunk, and the other one was feeding me more Budweiser. So, yeah, that was the first thought process of this whole show, and it was like, okay, well, no. So then, yeah, I was like, well, you be my co-host, and you were like, that's really cool, thanks. And then the show took off, and it was like, all right, awesome, now we're talking, we're sharing stories, we're opening up. It brought us closer, I think, as husband and wife. It's, I think, helped others listen to stories that we've gone through, because by no means, like, we might look Instagram awesome.
You do.
But we go through the same struggles that any normal couple would. But I think the one thing that we have to offer is that we are willing to admit that we are complete messes, and we're open to working on each other.
Yeah.
because I want to be good for you and
Learning
you
and
want to be
growing.
good for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're only trying to be good for each other in small little ways, then we'll never... It's a working process.
Yeah.
It is a complete working process. As we grow in 1 year, the next year is going to be a completely different year with different struggles. You know, I'm going to be 40 now.
I know. Crazy.
Yeah.
With 2 nuggets.
Way more gassy. It's crazy.
I can't believe you just said that.
It's true.
It is true.
We talked about this last night. I couldn't believe it. I was
Wild.
like, is this why I always used to laugh at my dad? Like,
I think so.
I don't know. It's crazy. We can Loogle or Google it later.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely look
or
into
Bing
it.
if Bing is still around.
Bing, come on.
But these are those awesome points though about this show that have helped us grow because we've been able to be honest, open. There's still so much more to share, but there's only so much time we have in each episode, and we really do try to think about good stuff to talk about. Sometimes it's a little more sillier or off the cusp than like our normal goal-oriented ideas, but like there's a lot of mentors out there. There's a lot of people out there spitting go-getting stuff and all that.
Right.
And so like we don't want to be that. We just want to be a couple that people go to weekly and go,
that episode made me laugh, or that episode made me think,
Yeah.
or I hated that episode.
I didn't know that we share the same things, because I think that's the biggest deal with a
Yeah.
podcast. It's not about the fact that our ideologies or our views have to align 100% with your
Not at
ideologies
all.
and your views. No, the whole purpose is to open up conversations and to have people
dialogue. Yeah.
be like, oh, wow, like they're from a Spanish background and I'm from an Irish background, but wow, I didn't realize that we shared similar blah, blah, blah.
Traditions or whatever.
Whatever it may be. So I think that is one of the coolest things. And so as we look to the future, here we are 52 shows later. All right. Well, let's take a step back. Let's make it better. Let's give ourselves 2 weeks to truly divvy out good quality, because the other part to it is in my day right now with just the one little dude, I'm able to really cut and do all these things on the Instagrams and, like spend more time doing those reels and all this stuff. Here shortly, I don't know what it's going to bring. So at first, I'd much rather pull away, do less, give more quality. And then in time, if we can, go back to doing an extra one here or there.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I don't know how it will go exactly, but I know that if we just assume that we're going to magically add a whole new body to this household and everything's going to be the same.
Yeah, not happening.
Then I'm clearly drinking again and not knowing it.
I am looking forward to my first cocktail. I won't lie.
Yeah, and Jimmy John's sandwich.
That TikTok yesterday was so funny, you guys. We saw this TikTok last night, and it was like in the hospital. The mom is in the hospital bed. You can see the newborn baby in the little bassinet at the foot of the bed. And it's like, the text says something like, I waited 9 long months for you. And you think she's talking about the newborn, and then she pulls over this giant Jimmy John's like turkey sandwich. I cannot wait to have cold cuts.
And that's because they say you're not supposed to eat cold cuts when you're pregnant.
There's like a danger of listeria.
Yeah.
Which,
the same with like sushi, right? Like there's certain things that the baby you just have to be cautious about.
There's certain things that like could give an adult food poisoning and you would feel terrible, but the chances of you like dying from it are way, way less.
Yeah.
The chances of an infant or a baby that's like growing inside of you, listeria can take them out like no problem.
Yeah,
so
there's
they recommend you don't eat certain things. So I'm looking forward to getting to eat those things once this little one is out.
Yeah, because moderation, right? Like, because you've had a small glass of wine and a small glass of champagne through this process, but
I've had some sips,
but nothing
but that was like towards the beginning. It's been months and months.
But that's what I mean. At a certain point too, it's like I don't really even feel like it because I have heartburn or I have
any alcohol plus heartburn, no thanks. No coffee.
No coffee. Yeah,
The heartburn, I'm that's probably the thing I'm looking forward the most to getting rid of.
Yeah. No, I can see that.
Yeah.
But that's the cool part about this whole journey with our listeners is that they get to experience some of this stuff. There's stuff that I learned that we'll talk about that I have to go back and look up because I'm interested in it. So I'm hoping that that's that same drive and passion that some of our listeners get when they're like, oh, I didn't know about that, or oh, wow. And to accomplish that, again, it's time management.
Yeah.
It's making sure that what we do now over 2 weeks is better than what we could have done ever in 1 week.
For sure.
So,
well, and I think it's going to be interesting, like we've, not a whole lot, but every once in a while we've talked about like parenting tips or like baby tips or something like that on this show. And I think when we do have 2 kiddos, I mean, that's something we've never experienced before, and it's definitely going to be a harsh learning curve for us. So I'm sure we'll be able to share some good quality things that we've learned with our listeners who maybe are thinking about one day having kids or are pregnant with their second baby or something
or
like
first,
that. Or first. Yeah. I mean, it's whatever we can learn by trial and error and help others with.
Well, the other thing, too, what people have given is when we've said something in like a curious way or we've talked about something, people have shared their experiences back with us, too. So it's not just a one-sided, we only give.
Yeah. I would love to hear more from our listeners.
But it is hard, though. I think, the one thing about social media is I think a lot of people enjoy watching things or seeing things. It does take a lot of time to actually go through the process of talking.
Interacting.
Because sometimes people are in their office just kind of scrolling or hitting something up really quick. To actually start a conversation is like a text message. You really have to be focused to then go back and answer. And then when you get home, who knows what your day is like. Maybe you have 4 dogs and a cat, and then you have to take them on walks, and you live in an apartment, and it's raining, and then you have to go to a company meeting, or you have drinks with so-and-so. So, like interacting on social media is easy for some, like me, because I'm on it all the time. So like if I see a message pop up, I can reply within a couple seconds.
Right.
Some people just don't have that luxury. So I don't hate that we don't hear a lot from it. Not because it's like time consuming, but I also would love it. But at the same time, I get it.
Yeah,
people are busy.
For sure. Yeah.
Time. It's one of the scarier things about life because you can never get it back. No matter what you do. No matter how rich you are, how much money you have, how much whatever you have. Time is gone.
Yeah, can't control it.
Fleeting. Gone. Magic.
It's crazy.
But what's cool about time, though, is that it also allows us to... And the one thing I think that I've heard people talk about like humans is that it gives us the ability to look back. Like our brains function at a different level. We have like a frontal cortex, and we have all these... Sure, like we share similar brain structures, like we have the spinal cord that goes into like an medulla oblongata thingy.
The medulla oblongata.
That thing.
But I don't think the spinal cord goes into it.
Whatever, it's all detached at the
but
top.
I know what you're talking about.
And I think we share similar qualities with other animals, and we have certain functions, but what really sets us apart is that we understand time and how valuable it is. And so I think people that really truly grasp that tend to be able to like share that with other people in a greater, grander way because they then value the other person's time. And over the last year, we have over like a couple thousand people across a plethora of platforms that we now have to value their time the same way that we value our household's time. So, like though we don't interact with them all, we still have to look at each and every one of them as someone who's very special to us in that realm, and I think that's a cool thing that I never had before. That sure, I valued a couple people's time, but I really didn't look at people maybe as I should have prior to starting this because I was a pretty selfish person.
That's true.
But I'm willing to admit that, and I'm willing to look back at my past and say, dang.
You've changed so much.
I've allowed myself to be very vulnerable. I've allowed myself to take a complete step back in my life and say, okay, I need to go back to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to slowly work my way back up to the person that I now want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard.
For sure.
Like, I'm not saying that I'm anything special, but it has been a journey. If you knew me 5 years ago and you met me today and you hated me then, or you hated me for the last 5 years and you met me, maybe
totally different person.
I might give you a different perspective on life nowadays.
There's no might about it. You're
might be
a completely different person.
For one, I would probably own a lot of my mistakes that I did to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be willing to be like, I'm completely sorry.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is not something that I would have done.
You're a much happier person now, too.
I'm happier.
There was a lot of stuff boiling up inside you back then.
I had a lot of anger in there. I'm by no means am I perfect. I flipped someone off the other day, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure, he says.
I might have done it.
Everybody can have a temper, but...
Yeah, I might have done it under the console a little bit so we didn't get into fisticuffs in the middle of the street. But
fisticuffs.
But I am different, and I think a lot of it is I've started to really respect my time differently, which then in turn has helped me respect other people's time.
Mm-hmm.
Because the next biggest thing that my time has to do is work on this project.
Right.
And it is the most difficult thing I've ever taken on outside of being a husband and a father.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, really, really has pushed me to new limits. Every day, I mean, it's on my, you can say it, but it's on my brain probably 20, how many ever hours I'm awake. And then even when I go to bed.
And in your sleep. I would say it's on your mind 24 hours a day.
Like I wake up and I literally think about this thing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I am pumping every ounce of I'm learning every day. I'm trying to be better every day. I'm starting new habits.
Mm-hmm.
So that time right there is really important because this podcast grew from that though.
Yeah.
So part of my time has to be dedicated to that. And a good majority of my time has to be dedicated to that. So looking at the podcast in about, well, this will be airing in, like we're recording it.
2 weeks, yeah.
But as this is recording, the next episode won't come out for another 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
So that right there is the jump. It's like, okay, I now have to focus time daily on this. So I have to separate myself from this every so often because the little ones are
going to need some attention
to ask for my attention a lot.
Yes.
And it's crazy. It is crazy. It is crazy to think that the last time I tried this project, I was on the road, and I think it was like somewhere around 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And I journaled about it.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote all the time I could. But the one thing that I didn't have was I didn't have dedicated time to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we found the journals when we were cleaning out the house.
Crazy.
We found, 3 notebooks full of...
I think so, yeah.
A very, very detailed plan of what I thought it would take.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty wild to look at that and go, this was a great idea. Why didn't I continue? And then as I thought about it, it was like, oh, well, because I had a tour and I had all these women that I was juggling. And then I had all this other mess in my life. And I didn't have, I had just moved to Houston, I think, at the time. And
you were very focused on your image and what people thought of you, too.
Yeah. And then I was working out. And the only thing I wanted from that at the time was to be rich.
Right. And famous.
I didn't think about the actual work behind it. So it was really easy to sit on a day off after being hungover and be like, I
don't feel like working on this.
I don't really feel like working on this. I'm going to go to the gym because that's what I messed up. I need to work off my 40 shots of Jaeger and the double cheeseburger I ate at 2 a.m.
Ew.
You know what I mean?
The thought of Jaeger, I have the mouth sweats.
Please don't spit on the microphone.
I might. Gross.
But it's crazy, though, because I look at that project, I'm like, dang. And I remember telling people about it, too. Like, I'm going to do this. And people are like, you should. And that just fizzled away.
Yeah.
And it's pretty sad to think about that. But therein lies that magical thing about memory and time is I'll never, it doesn't matter. I need to let that go, and I have.
Yes, because timing is everything.
Well,
You're in the right
because now
part of your life now.
I learned, I grew from that moment. I look back on it and said, what did I do so wrong then?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's why people tend to say, like, you don't forget about the past. Don't allow the past to not be something that is in your life. You don't have to justify it or glorify it or anything like that because it's gone. But the one thing looking at the past, I'll never make those same mistakes again.
Mm-hmm.
And I did for many, many years. But now I have a chance to truly rewrite it all because I gave it all up.
Right.
So there's no excuse now.
No excuse.
There's zero excuse to say, well, I got to leave town tomorrow and,
I need to pack. I do laundry.
I got to do this. I got to go down to this. Well, and, like if I was leaving you with 2 kids, I'd have to do so much more because I'd be like, oh, I got to get all this stuff prepped for you. So that way your life is somewhat easy because I'm going to go do.
Manageable. Yeah.
And that looking at what I wanted in life, I had to truly weigh time and goals and management and change.
Yeah.
And it really, really, really has been hard. But it's doable because I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I can see it. I can see it every day. So, like, if someone is listening to this and they're like, my life effing blows. Well,
make some changes.
Look at what's around you. What do you have? What options do you have? Well, the first option is at least say it out loud. Like, this is what I want.
Admitting to things that are toxic in your life is key.
Well, but also admitting to what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't just look at the negatives in your life because then you're just going to focus on the negatives. So, cool. You have a lot of negatives in your life. Whatever it might be.
What about the positives?
What is the one positive thing that you have today that can set all of that apart?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what truly got me to where I am today with all the things that we're able to do because there is scariness around it all. There's scariness that because we're going to 2 shows a month or,
2 shows a month.
Yeah, basically, that we're going to lose people because now they have to wait an extra week. And people sometimes aren't liking that. But those are those scary moments that you have to say, well, I have to take this shot. I have to shoot this shot. If I miss it, well, then at least I'll learn.
Yeah.
And here we are. We're shooting the shot.
Yeah. Go for it. See what happens.
I think there's that famous quote by Michael Jordan. He was an up-and-coming basketball star.
Not sure if he ever became anything.
You might have heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
He said, he missed, 60% of the shots they took, but the shots that he made were like, it's such a crazy thing to think about, that gamble, It's like you're tasked with taking some of the most important things in your life and trying them.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that it's going to work.
No guarantee.
There's absolutely zero. This project could fizzle, fail, and bomb. But
you'll never know if you don't try.
I have ultimate faith in it. And you can, oh my gosh, if people could hear our conversations, the amount of times I've cried about it, the amount of times that I've broken down and literally been like, what am I doing? And you're like, stay the course. Stay the course. Put those effing blinders on and stay the course.
Run.
Go, go, go. But saying it is so much easier than doing it.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's the point, though. And that's the point why you see these people, and that's why it's so easy for people to be like, oh, well, they just have it easy, or they have talent, or they have this. It's like, well, but if you want to do that, you'll wake up and read about it first.
Yeah.
Or you'll go try it. If you want to run a mile, and you've never run a mile ever in your life, what's the first thing you have to do? Put your shoes on.
Stretch.
We have to get up in the there's the whole idea of signal flow again. It's like, okay, well, if every morning you say, oh, I really should go for a walk, but you wake up at the same time every day,
don't give yourself the time to do it.
What's the one thing you should do? Well, set your alarm for 20 minutes earlier now. Get out of bed and go for a 5-minute walk. Because then at least you did a walk. Doesn't not matter the distance.
You did what you said you were going to do.
Zero reference to how far you walked. Everything about the fact that you walked.
Yeah.
That's giant.
Yeah.
And there goes time, though. Time. Because you're telling yourself, well, I'm going to go to bed an hour earlier. You know, it's you can start playing this game where you just start going backwards, right? What is it going to take for me to accomplish all these things that I need to do?
Yeah.
A lot of the times you can say it yourself. And that's why it's so important to not just focus on like the bad, but focus on where you want to go, because in your brain, you'll start to go there.
Yeah.
You'll start to tell yourself like, this is what I need to do to get to here.
Yeah.
And then boom, next thing you know, you're going to bed 20 minutes early, right? Because then that gives you 20 minutes on the other side.
On the other side. Yeah, exactly.
So it's, I don't know, it's something to think about. It's something that, you know, like we as a team, we talk about constantly. We are continually I'm trying to push you, you're trying to push me. But together, we're not doing it because we want to drive a Ferrari. We're doing it because inevitably it'll give us more time together.
Right.
Like everything that we're doing right now is more time together.
More time together.
It's more time with the family, more time with our faith, more time with our friends, more time with anything that we decide that we want to spend our time on. But if we never took these chances, we would never have that time though.
Yeah. 100%.
So, I mean, it's...
Gotta go for it.
I know it sounds crazy, and we've talked about it now for over a year, and we've shared our goals, and we've shared some of our deepest, you know, like... I mean, I feel like I've truly shared some deep, deep things with people.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think part of that is coming clean and saying, well, if it never worked in the past doing these things, this is the only way that I can never do those things ever again, is by... physically speaking them out loud.
Yeah.
Like, what a thought.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, like, the brain is such a powerful mechanism, you know, and
capable of so many things.
Well, and it's capable of so many things, but it's already hardwired for so many things that we're just, like, terrified to allow.
Yeah.
You know, like, we are smart. We have the ability to do whatever we really, truly put our minds to.
But you have to commit.
You have to be the voice that doesn't, you know, like, let's say follow. Or you have to be the one that's like, well, if everybody else is doing that and I can see exactly where their lives are going, then I should probably go do this.
Yep.
Because
absolutely.
But it also boils down to, what do you actually want, though?
Yeah.
Because if you don't want that, then there's no point in it.
No.
Then why even try? Just go eat Cheetos.
Cheetos.
Cheetos. And it's not a stab at anybody, because you can do whatever you want. It affects my life zero. Like, I'm not going to hate on you because if you want to sit in your room and play Cheetos and play video games or eat Cheetos.
If you want to play Cheetos.
That's not going to affect me. So I'm not going to be mad at you, and I'm not going to make fun of you, but I'm not also going to waste my time interacting with you.
Right.
Because if you don't want to change, then what's the point of me even saying it to you?
Right.
And I think that's the other key to it, is that, you know, I have a teammate that's willing to go to bat with me. And you're willing to stand behind me on all the tough things that I talk about. And all the times that I'm like, what do you think about this? And you're like, you've told me straight up sometimes no. And that's hard, because I am, like, passionate.
Hard to say.
Well, I'm passionate.
I know. I don't want to deflate your dream balloon.
But it's not deflating. It's saying rethink. Not
How
now.
about we approach it this way?
Yeah.
At this time instead.
Because I've also, when you've said stuff, I'm like, well, wow, that's really quick for you to jump down that train. And you're like, I will see your brain take a shift, and you'll come back later and you'll be like, okay, I see your point, but I think that this is how we should think about it. Which I really appreciate that, though, as a wife, because it's not only with the project, it's not only with the podcast, it's not only with us, but it's with however, it's everything. You will take something, and I will take something, and we can meet in the middle and have a nope
have a healthy conversation about it.
Well, maybe not even at that second, but we'll at least be honest and say, well, this is how I feel about this situation. And then we'll come back, and if we need to reevaluate it, we have reevaluated it. We've had those conversations where it's like, no, this is how it should go because of X, Y, and Z. This is how this should go because of X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, at least our X's are on the same.
Right. Now let's figure out the Y's and the Z's.
Where can
Bringing them
we
together.
start to compromise on the Y's and the Z's?
Yeah.
So I know that this wasn't a show directly dedicated to one thing. It was more of a long show about lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, yeah, like time is crazy. I don't know. Time is crazy. Time is one of those things that just blows my mind every time I think about time.
Yeah. Every time I think about time.
Every time I think about time, it blows my mind about the time.
Yes.
And so many people use it as motivational references that you can't get away from it. You know, like there's the hourglass references. You know, like all the sand above you and all the sand below you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not there actually.
Yeah.
It's gone. One hasn't happened,
Disappeared.
so you can't waste time only dreaming. You can't waste time only thinking about the past.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be some sort of present in there, you know. And I heard
Have to be in the present.
I heard Jordan Peterson talking about some of this, you know, a long while ago, and he was talking about, you know, we live in like what do you say, 10 milliseconds, or yeah, it was like 10 milliseconds to 3 years is where the human should live.
Mm-hmm.
Because outside of those, you're really, one is too distant and one is too finite. There's certain things about your life that you just can't stay at the second.
Yeah.
Live in the second and then move forward.
Yeah.
And I don't think I really like thought about it at first, and then it kind of like dawned on me with how we deal with like looking at our little dude grow.
Mm-hmm.
If he throws a temper tantrum, that's in that 1 second where we just have to like figure it out.
Get on his level.
Get down eye to eye with him, work it out, and then move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let that second that he threw a toy and hit you in the face or threw his food on the floor set off the rest of your day.
Right.
But at the same time, don't try to analyze him 5 years into the future.
Right.
Because
There's no way to do that.
You'll never be able to get him to do something now until you start working on it in time.
Yeah.
And it's really, truly like that is that consistency that people forget about. And it's true with you to this day. It's true with me to this day. It's true with everybody around us that, you know, like those little fractions of time add up. And it's incredible because I know that I have made so many poor choices in my life. So many. I probably still make bad choices. Not poor anymore, but you know, like spending too much time scrolling on the internet is still not healthy. Right. No matter how I slice it, no matter what I try to justify it. Oh well, that's my job now. I'm a social media person. Nope. Get off.
Yeah.
Get on. Do it.
Get off.
Hit the messages. Get back off.
Yeah.
There's no point in wasting minutes and seconds and
that turns into hours.
It turns into hours.
Yeah.
Real quick. Because if you think about it, like one 15-second video, sure. All right. Cool. Be done with it. Go away.
115-second videos, but just scrolling.
But then at the same time, I have to be also on the flip side at times too. I have to manage a little bit of that into my day because the people who spend time on me, I want to spend time on them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So therein lies that chaos.
All the balance.
Chaos, order. And it's so funny because, like, I used to look at that stupid yin and yang thing all the time and be like, I don't get it.
Now you get it.
Oh, I totally get it. You know, because inside of, you know, chaos is order, and inside of order is chaos.
Yep.
And that's why they live cohesively together. And there's that finite line. And you can go down the line with anything in the Bible to anything in the Quran to anything, you know, like, it's all written out there by different people for thousands and thousands of years because they figured it out.
Yeah.
You know, they figured, like, you know, like the same way that people used to look up into the sky and be like, oh, wow, we live in a big dome. Dome Depot.
No.
Sorry, the Simpsons reference.
Simpsons movie.
But like they used to think that you'd walk to the edge of the freaking land and there'd be salt water. And I think there's a god of salt water and there's a god of fresh water too, in like maybe Egyptian, because if you dig far enough down, you hit freshwater.
Right.
So
right.
there's this balance and chaos of like, well, we can only go so far into the ground this way, and we can only go so far out that way.
Yeah.
And it was all about living with these two competing forces.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's things like that that really start to like, oh, this isn't a new concept.
Right.
So any person that's out there like screaming like, I have the next best, marketing, blah, 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 listen to me, buy my freaking book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Like, you might have some really good things, the same way that we try to say, like, we have really good ideas too. Listen to us. But none of it's new. We're just now figuring it out is the difference.
Right.
We're just like going, oh my gosh.
Oh.
That's what it is.
Now we get it.
So the long and skinny of it is we appreciate everyone listening to us.
Mm-hmm.
We truly, truly appreciate it.
We do.
There is not a single day that goes by that I don't look at something on the social medias or as I'm uploading these or look at the numbers that we've downloaded and all this stuff. Look at their sponsors. Look at everything. People that text message or call or
comment, whatever.
Anywhere, everywhere, all day long. The people who've bought the merch, it's like you are valuable to us because our time is valuable. So I know your time is valuable. So like, cheers to you. Thank you to you. Thank you to everyone for giving us a solid year.
Let's keep it going.
Let's keep it going. But we are going to shift because it's what we have to do as a team to make not only the content better, but to make our family better, to make everything better around us.
Absolutely.
So the message today is, keep going.
Yeah. Happy 52 weeks.
Happy 52 weeks. That's
Woo!
wild.
I know. It's awesome.
I mean, I know that we just spent a whole lot of time talking about time and all that stuff, but a couple more seconds of seeing a goal through is pretty freaking wild.
It is.
I mean, I weighed myself the other day and I was like on myself for months. Like, I just can't shake these last few 5 pounds. And then suddenly I hit 145 the other day and I was like, whoa.
I did it.
Yeah. It if you ever are down, call me.
Yeah.
I will be your
super inspirational.
I will be your biggest supporter too, because I know how difficult it is to go through something. And I will be it's like the people that make fun of fat people at the gym. Y'all are assholes.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
They're there.
It would no, but just in general, in life, across the board, any troll, any person that's out there making fun of someone because they're putting their selves out on the internet, eat it.
Yeah.
Because the whole point is to do something. Do something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And so I will 100%. If you are ever looking for support or if you're ever having a down day and you're like, I just can't get through it, hit me on the
gram,
the DMs, and I'll give you something, some sort of happy,
positive, uplifting,
some sort of happy, something. Like something. But I don't know. I'm happy. I have a giant. If you're listening to this, I have a giant smile on my face.
Yeah.
I've actually. I smile most of our shows through, but I definitely have had a pretty big smile this whole show thinking about just the impact that it's had on our lives and where it's taking us. And I can't wait to share the news about this project that we've been working on. It's like I can look back and remember people being like, you can't even, send a proper text message, let alone how do you think your brain's going to function building something like that? And to actually see it being built every day is
it's amazing.
Hands down amazing. And I talk to one of our partners once a week about it. Sometimes twice. Actually, we text message probably, every other day or something like that. But, we talk and, she just has, it's crazy to see someone also that can be like, yeah, this is real. And it's like, whoa, this is real.
It is.
Like, I'm paying you. Like, I'm paying you to help me build this, so I know that you're not just like blowing steam up my butt.
Right.
Like, that's the other crazy part is like you're not just here because like I'm already at the top. You're
Right.
here because I'm at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm at the absolute bottom. There's no reason why you should be here other than the fact that you believe in what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a wild thought.
It's pretty awesome.
So saying that, I guess that's why you're here too.
Yes, it is. 100%.
Well, and you signed a contract
Yes, that too.
in blood.
Mm. Creepy.
It is almost Halloween again.
Almost. Can't wait.
All right, y'all. Well, we are going to let you go. We have a few special guests coming up. Like just stick with us. As things change, we will obviously always keep you posted. We have the little one on the way, and who knows how this will all play out. But all I know is that I'll continue to work hard for you. I know BK will continue to work hard for you.
Yep.
And we'll continue to hopefully bring you laughs and life lessons for the next year.
Absolutely.
That'll at least be our new goal. Is we're going to shoot for another year of shows.
Keep going.
So 25.
26
shows. I don't know how to add. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing.
Maybe not.
Oh my gosh.
Thankfully, I got your back.
Oh my gosh. I'm scared now. All right, we're going to get off and go have a real long talk because I need a motivational talk.
We'll pump up.
All right. Peace.
Thanks,
Love.
everybody.
Thank you so much. Cheers. Bottoms up for all your time this year.
Woo.
We love you.
Thank
love,
you for
love,
everything.
love you. Thank you so much.
See you
Cheers.
soon. Bye. I already drank all mine.
Lame.
Bye.